Hey, what's up, guys? It's MetaGamesGX here, and we're going to do a quick deck profile on my Tearlament deck that I've been using lately. You guys know I kind of went back to this deck at the end of last format. We have Age of Overlord coming up. I still think this deck is going to be very amazing, and I recently got first place at Locals, woo, with this deck, and so I wanted to showcase really just like how this build is, what the build I've been going to since my last deck profile, because I've changed it a lot. I based this deck a lot on Gabriel Netz's 8th place at Dortmund. So shout out to Gabriel and the Disciples. They are all amazing duelists, especially Gabriel for making a really consistent tier build that I kind of just like, crafted for what I liked personally. And I think the tier is really good right now. It has an amazing Unchained matchup, an amazing Pearly matchup, an amazing tier matchup. It has an amazing everything matchup, really, to be honest. It has an amazing branded matchup. So just like the deck really only loses to itself and like going second and seeing the wrong engine, because that's the thing. The deck can't really run a whole lot of non-engine, but your in-engine is so strong, you're usually able to just play through boards, honestly. And the deck does more than any other deck once it gets going, so that's why I think it's an amazing choice right now. We're going to go through some options for Age of Overlord, but this is my deck. This was technically pre-Age of Overlord. However, I think that this is going to be the build I'm going to take into Age of Overlord. I know HORUS is being heavily tested with the zombie vampire. However, I don't think that card is actually, zombie vampire on its face is pretty good, but it's pretty horrible in the mirror match. And then also the fact it takes a lot of dedication in order to get into it, where the deck doesn't really struggle with mills. So like, I don't think HORUS is actually going to be the play. I'd rather have non-engine to play in the Beatrice lines than go into zombie vampire. So I think that this is going to be my Age of Overlord build. So, definitely feel free to take this build into it. I think that obviously Ken and Jen are coming out. Those are things you can consider too. We'll talk about that too. We'll go over my choices. And please like and subscribe. And comment below what you guys think about Tearlament right now. So yeah, let's get into it. This is a 40 card main deck. I just can't see myself running above 40 cards. With Tearlament, you just need to hit your good mills, unfortunately. So we have 3 tier cash. This thing is basically the best card in one of the best monsters in the deck. It's a mill 2 when you mill it, and then obviously it's a mill 3 when you special or normal summon it. It's a quick effect even on your opponent's turn, but you have to banish a tier name from your graveyard or cash name. Or from your hand. So I don't run Fenrir in this deck because I think Fenrir is honestly kind of a brick in here. I like Fenrir a lot. It's really good. I just the hands I lose are with Fenrir a lot of the time. So like at most I'd run like maybe 1 or 2 Fenrir. I really do like Fenrir. I'd like to put it back in. That's something maybe to consider with Age of Overlord to put back in. However, we do have the 3 tier cash. It's searchable off of Pearl Rhino and even off of Wraithsoth if you're running it. I'm not running it in this build, but yeah, it's just one of the best cards. And you're able to recycle it back with Toad, which I have in the stack. It's just really broken. It's just insane recursion. It's why the deck is able to do what it does a lot of the time. The girls, obviously, Shira and Merly and Havness, the best cards in the deck. You fuse off of them. You're really just playing a game of recycling these girls in order to go through your 3 fusions a turn, and you only run so many fusions. So really, once you just do 3 fusions, you're pretty much set. Like the 4th fusion comes to set up the window, but we'll get into that. And then 3 Rhino Heart, because I think Rhino Heart is really good right now in this build because we max out on the Scream. So normal plus, or this plus Scream is just like usually a mill 5, like if you mill the tier cash, and that usually gets you going. Really, like you just need to get your engine going. You need to hit like a single like really good mill, and then you're just like off to the races. I think 3 allows you to have those good mills. It also because milling Rhino Heart is huge when you have like the Soliac in hand or something like that, or even one of the 3 Screams. It's huge. It's a huge extension, and you're able to go into Bahamut Toad into Totally Awesome very easily with him. So that's why I think 3 is the play, obviously. I know some people have been running 2, but I think just with the limitations of these 3, you want to max out on all the names that you can. So that's what we're doing in this build. Then we have my Nameless Keldo. We love Nameless Keldo. I wish I had a playset. If anyone ever has a playset of these, with Nameless, please let me know. I will trade for them. So yeah, we have Keldo, Mudora, Agido, and Kelbeck. So these cards are incredible. They were loyal to me at the tournament. I milled these like crazy on my opponent's turn 2, and that's just how you play. It's just insane. That's why this deck is so explosive, because like you have like Havness, you have this, and you're able to play on your opponent's turn. Then you just mill 5 on your opponent's turn. You're off to the races. You're just doing just so much, and your opponent just like stays behind. This deck really falters when you just like see a lot of your bricks and you don't mill good, but honestly that's why this deck is built not to get into that scenario. This is a very consistent build. These are the best cards in the deck. They need to get banned. And then the last 2 fairies, 2 Diviner. This card just overperforms, honestly. It's my way into Baron. This is how you get around Nib, and that's why I want to run a 3rd, honestly. Like, I have trouble running 3 and 3. However, this card's just insane. Like, so maybe 2 is probably the correct. Like, maybe I'd have to down on Rhinoheart, and that for that reason, maybe 2 is just, like, fine. But, like, the 2 is so strong. You're always milling the 5, and then you're going into Baron. It's just ridiculous. And it's usually just extra because you don't need your normal summon in this deck, and that's why I'm saying you can run in Ken and Jen in this deck and Age of Overlord. So definitely something to test out. And then we got 2 Malicious, because Malicious is incredible in this deck because we're playing Beatrice, because Beatrice Turbo is really good. We're going Beatrice gets you into any card in your deck and allows you to play on your opponent's turn as well. So you're able to this thing, because you're also running the Bestials, so you have a lot of level 6 access. You also go into Druid Swarm a lot because you have the Danger Nessie, which is a Aqua Dark. This is something that I saw Gabriel Nets on, which was very smart, because this card you're able to fuse off, because otherwise to make Kaleido Heart or the Garura, you would have to use your names, and you don't want to use your names, and it's really hard to just mill your one of names. You have no other Aquas in deck, so you have to run Aquas. It's either this or Gameciel, and I don't think Gameciel is the play. I think this is better extension, whereas Gameciel really doesn't extend you anywhere. And so that's why I think like you could side deck Gameciels. I side deck the Radians, you'll see, but this card is amazing. That's why we max out on it, because it allows you to go into Kaleido Heart, which helps you going second. It really does, because shotgunning the Kaleido Heart like with a Pearl Rhino, going second is huge, especially when you're able to chain block with mills and stuff like that. That's just how you play second with this deck. So I think that's why the dangers are so amazing. And then the Bestials, I did put it to 2. I think 3 is a bit too bricky. I mean, it depends on what you think you're going to see, but I think 2 is just fine. It gives you the edge against certain decks, but otherwise it allows you to extend and just get into 6s. Maybe I'll put in the 3rd again, but it's fine. And then Malicious is just incredible. I just hate seeing it in my hand. However, you can discard it with Havness and do Destiny Hero things. I'm not running the Denier, because Denier is kind of a brick. I'm not going to lie. Like, that card basically, it's a level 3, so you don't run any level 3s. You don't run Cherubini. You don't run a rank 3. So it doesn't do a whole lot outside of the time that you can't really, when you have a Malicious Engraven like hand or something. However, you can just fuse it and shuffle it back with one of your fusions, so it's fine. Like, you don't need the Denier, and it's a nice extension, I guess, for the cross sheet, but you don't need it. And I would rather not run the brick and have more consistency, because we're also running Shadal Beast, which is just like an amazing mill, and it gets you into Winda. This is your usually 4th fusion. You need to get Beast in the graveyard when you go first and passed over, so you can make Winda and then just like set up your opponent for game. You make like Dracostapelia and then go into Winda, and then it's just game from there basically, because you still have 1 fusion. Usually you don't have enough fusions though. That's unfortunate though, because we don't run Mud Dragon. This is all the monsters. We don't run Beast King of the Swamp. I might be testing with that, because Rulukalos is the thing, but I think Diviner is just a better way to get around that. Plus you get Baron access, and Baron's just an incredibly broken card, so I think this is just a better card than Rulu. Rulu's good. We might put it back in, but like it's like whatever. I'd like to get Grapha back in, honestly. That's why I was thinking about maybe Beast King of the Swamp, so that's something to consider. Grapha is just an amazing boss monster. So yeah, that's the monster lineup. And now we're going to get into the spells and traps. We're going to get into the Tearlament spells and traps. We have Pearl Rhinos, because it's the best spell, or the best spell card in the game, basically, or the best field spell card in the game. It pops on your opponent's turn with the shufflers. That's why, like, when you're milling your opponent, that's why, like, Zombie Vampire would just, like, because you're already milling a lot on your opponent, you don't want to burn your shufflers, like, turn 0 to shuffle back away what you're milling off of your opponents. And you're already doing that with Keldo and yugioh, you want to save it for Pearl Rhino. But Pearl Rhino, even with the fusion, so that's why you want to set up like a Soliak play. So that's why we have also a terraforming. I could run a Rate Soth, but I think that it's kind of extra. I just hate drawing terraforming and Primeval, so we might run a Rate Soth in the future. Then we have 3 Scream because this plus any name equals basically combo most of the time, and it's also good extension with Rhino Heart when you're maxing out on the Rhino Heart, so I think it's very good in that regard, and also has like the attack modulation really does come up in grind games. Like that's how you win your grind game, is this card plus Pearl Rhino, so very underrated in that respect. And then 2 Soliak, we are siding the crime, but 2 Soliak is just fine, like 1 for the discard, 1 to set. You need 2, 1 is incorrect. You need the 2 because like Soliak set is how you win games with Kaleido Heart under Pearl. So then generics, Foolish Burial Goods. I could run 1 more of these. It's a really good card. I just hate milling it, so we try minimize on the bad mills. And then 1 Trev Karma because we send it off of Foolish Burial, or just, obviously it searches any card in the deck, so it's really good. That's why Foolish Burial could get upped. I just hate bad mills, and this is a bad mill. This is a really good mill, and you can pop it with Baron, like worst case, or your Pearl. So yeah. And then the 3 Triple Tactics Talents, because I've tested a lot between hand traps. Like I've tested Ash, I've tested Nibiru main deck, I've tested Droll, I've tested Thrust, I've tested Talents. I think Talents is the best main deck option that tier has currently, because it's always live. Like they're always going to Ash something of this, and then like it's really good. Like taking an opponent's monster usually means you can OTK, or you can extend off of it, or you can draw 2, and because you don't need your normal summon, like in mana, this is dubious because usually when you resolve the Talents, you can't play through the Droll, but you can play through whatever the fuck they do on you with the Talents, as long as you, like if they Droll you, that is what it is, but like usually you can play through it if you just extend and take one of their monsters or something like that. So yeah, I think this is really good in the main deck. I like 3 for that reason. I want to see it. I genuinely want to see it. I hate milling it. It's a bad mill, but I think it allows you to go second and you're always drawing 2, so like it's a pretty good way to get into it. And then we have card destruction because this card's really sacky. It unbricks bad hands also, and usually like if you draw your mill 5s and stuff like that, you can just unbrick your hands or these cards, and it allows you to go through your deck. Like that's 10 cards you're cycling through. I think that's why it's really good in this deck, and you're sending it for cost. Oh, we love the magic card destruction, don't we, folks? So yeah, that's the 40 card deck. I think that's card destruction definitely could be cut. I think with Age of Overlord, like I said, like the horse cards would just really cut into this too much. Like what am I cutting? The Talons, Scream, destruction. I'd be cutting the like danger package. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to cut these. So it's like, I think Druid Storm is going to be continuously to be really good. I mean, I could maybe take it out and like run the blue Unchained. I've seen a lot of Tearlament players run, but I know like when Unchained players draw that card, they lose the game. So I'm okay with not drawing that. I like Druid Swarm being extension and also board breakability. It has a lot more flexibility in that respect. That's why I don't think that the blue is very good. I've seen some builds run it. I just don't think the blue is very good. Also, I'm not main decking Super Poly because I think that Super Poly is a bad mill. It's really good going second, obviously, and we'll get into that. So yeah, let's just get into the extra deck quick. It's really standard. 1 Kaleido Heart because it's the best fusion in the whole darn deck. This thing does everything. It breaks boards, it extends. It just sucks when you get DD Crowed on it, so just be very careful on that because you will lose the game most likely. You just got to be able to read the room and stuff like that. But Kaleido Heart's just an incredible card. Also goes up to a 3,500 extender off of Pearl Rhino, and it's not once, like you can just keep recycling it. It's just crazy. Second best fusion in the deck, Winda, because I've seen a lot of builds cut it. However, I think it's kind of like Gimmick Puppet. It's like how you secure boards, and like because your opponent usually can't play through a window. So if you have like a board of Pearl Rhino, Soliak plus Kaleido Heart, and like literally anything else, if you're able to go into Winda, they're not outing that board under the Pearl Rhino plus spin from Kaleido plus Soliak, and that's not a very hard board to make in Tearlament. So the only issue is like it's hard to find the Shadal, so I might put back in Hell Shadal. You heard it here first, folks. It's just that Hell Shadal's a huge brick, but like you have Mud Dragon to switch up the attribute. Third best fusion, Dracostapelia. You're usually if you're able to cycle through your 3 fusions, you go into this on your 4th and then this on your 5th. Like I mentioned before, Dracostapelia is just amazing. You always go into it. You usually recycle Dangerous, Garura, or Mud Dragon in order to make it. And Dangerous is obviously there to make the Beatrice plays and recycle Malicious. You can spin back one of your Malicious you milled and then make this, and then go into Garura or go into wherever Beatrice, and then detach to be able to spin that back for Dracostapelia at some point, and then make Malicious to go into the Cross Sheep. So it's like, do you see where the Denier isn't really needed? And when it's a level 3, it's literally just link fodder, and we're not on Dark in this deck. I might want to put in Dark. It's just not there. And we are on Super Poly in the side deck, but I would run these no matter what. These are just amazing extenders in the deck for Xyz plays. And that's what I love about Tearlaments, is that it's a very much like you use every aspect of Yu-Gi-Oh! You use links, synchros, you use Xyz, and you use fusions. Fusions primarily, but that's why it's one of my favorite decks. This and Branded are my 2 favorite decks of all time, and Shaddoll obviously, and I guess Lightsworn too, but we'll get into it. Xyz monsters, Bahamut Toad. I think with my build that I go into these so much with the 3 Rhino Heart. In the Mud Dragon, it really does come up a lot, and you want to end on Toad because when you negate, you get a Havness or you get a Banished Tear Cache back, so it's very good. That's why you want Banished Tear Cache with a Tear Cache to follow up with Toad if you're going into that. Dweller Time Thief, because Time Thief is like the best Exceed in all of Tearlament. It's a 4th name basically, because you detach for card effect, obviously, and then Abyss Dweller, because it's really good against Unchained and Tearlament, very good, and then you can go into Zeus on top of any of these. To break boards, Zeus is very good in this deck. I was not running it before. I found myself really missing it, and I think the Toad and Bahamut, upon more testing, they're really amazing. I'd keep them. Especially going forward, I think they will be very solid. I mean, obviously, like, I think Droll might have to come into this deck. We'll get into that with the side deck, but like Last Exceed Beatrice, because it's like the best card in the game. You literally Foolish Burial quick effect any card, so yeah, very good card. It probably should be banned if Curious is banned, but like, that's why we run the level 6 extension, because this card is just insane. Like, you're able to play on your turn, then your opponent's turn. I kind of want to run a Shaddoll Dragon for that. I want more utility around Beatrice, because you are turboing out Beatrice in this build. Which I prefer this build over the Shaddoll build. I think Skivism is just such a brick. Like, I mean, I still get the window access, and I've seen some of my build. People like Gabriel didn't run the window. I don't agree with that. I think Window's really good, but he's really good at the game, so he can probably play around it. So, Cross Sheep, Underworld Goddess, because Underworld Goddess is your out for towers decks, and you're able to extend that far. And Cross Sheep, because Cross Sheep is Sprite Elf for this deck, but even better, because you're able to special on either turn. I do miss the Dark. Dark is missing. I would like to get Dark in here. And then one Barone, because we run the Diviner. Maybe even Destrudo we could run for this, but no, it's just amazing. It's an extender, and it's your way around Nibiru. Like I said, I might run 3 Diviner for that reason, because I just want to see that card more. And now we're going to go into the side deck super quickly. Ignore the orange sleeve, but we got Gaga Cowboy, because it's a lot of time, like, you'll OTK, except you'll be like they'll be under 800 and you can just kill them per game, obviously, and other reasons. To Kaiju, because Pearly, and it's a Dark Fiend, so you're able to make Mud Dragon more. It's okay. Like, I think it's just better. I don't want to run Thrust plus Herald, because this is just like a better mill than that. Too evenly, because you just need it for Rescue Ace, especially this upcoming format. Like I said, I'm going to run Droll in the upcoming, and then one Change of Heart for Unchained, and really anything, because you can just like Change of Heart, take Exceed, make Zeus, and just pop board and then go off. Very good card. Plus, like, that's what Talents does in theory. Shaddoll Fusion plus Shikanaga, because that's just like super broken. Resolving this going second, you just send a Mill 5 plus a Shaddoll Beast, and you just plus infinite and go off, and like, if they don't negate it, so it's like automatically like they have to negate it. And usually they don't. They're like, oh, that's fine, it's just Shaddoll Fusion. Bet. Then we got 3 Super Poly, because we run the Guru Mud Dragon, so it's like, why not? Like, certain boards, especially Chimera, like, oh my god, this just cleans that up. Especially Rescue Ace. Run this in Rescue Ace. This might be main deckable, because the Rescue Ace, it just breaks the Rescue Ace board. And then 3 Tikaboo, because the deck really just plays under Tikaboo super well. So this was a choice by Gabriel Nets too. That was super smart. So when Flu D-shifters you, okay, bet. Set Tikaboo, let's go. This has come up a lot. I would not run anything else. This is amazing. You can't run Thrust in the deck because, in my opinion, I mean, you can, like, maybe a one of bit's a bad mill, so this just works. And then one crime because we need an evenly out, so we side this in whenever we go first. I just hate going second because you can't always guarantee the banish, so... Yep, that was the side deck. I think with Age of Overlord, like I said, I will not be running the HORUS cards, and I think that with the Rescue Ace stuff that you're going to really have to probably run a Droll or something like that, just because it's going to hit Vanadium and all that. But I think that this is a very solid build to bring into the next format, and, you know, I've seen success with this, and the format will get warped. Obviously, like, SP Low Knight will be in here. Do not worry. I will have to put an SP Low Knight plus IP. It's probably going to... We're probably going to have to end up taking Baron out, and then, like, putting back in, like, Rulu or something, honestly, because... I mean, as of right now, though, Nib is kind of non-existent. I don't know. But, I mean, just from the games I've played, but I might just be getting lucky, to be honest, and we might have to take out something else because, like, maybe the Toad package. However, I don't like that idea. So lots of things to think about. Obviously, Scatter Shot's an option. I just prefer Cowboy, obviously, too, about that. So, yeah, what do you guys think? Also, will you guys be running Ken and Jen in this deck? What will you guys be doing differently with Age of Overlord? What deck will you guys be running with Age of Overlord? Please go check out my top 10 cards that you should be checking out with Age of Overlord, because there's a lot of cards you should really be paying attention to and have for your decks. So I just made a video on that. Definitely a really good resource on that. We'll be making more deck profiles, more duels for the upcoming format. Definitely look forward to that. Like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Check out our Spotify podcast. Check out our podcast on YouTube. Check out my Twitter. Check out the Discord in the all links below. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the support. We're almost at 2K. Have a good day, guys.